Welcome, everybody. It is me. It is the Cyber Warrior. This is Cyber Warrior Studios, and I know you're all here for another amazing episode of Security Happy Hour. And I got to be honest, it is always amazing to get a brand new guest on the show. So I'm excited for today's episode because we're going to talk about something we haven't talked about in a while, and that is cyber sales. It's been a long time since I've had a salesperson on the show, so I'm sure there's going to be an amazing episode. So if you would be so kind as to sit back, relax, give me about 10 seconds, and we'll be right back. And we're back, as always, in 10 seconds. And with me this evening, I have the one, the only, Mariana Padilla of the Hackerverse. Thank you for joining me this evening.
Oh my gosh, I'm so thrilled to be here. Seen several of your episodes, had a lot of friends on here, and I was really excited that this is going to be fun.
It is. So the first question I ask everybody when they come on this show and they're brand new to Security Happy Hour is, how'd you get into cyber? Because you're still kind of newish. Like, from what you're saying, 0 to 3 years, you're still kind of like treading water, trying to figure shit out. So how'd you break into the industry?
Yeah, completely accidental. I kind of bumbled my way into the space. So prior to doing this, started and scaled my own marketing agency, and it was during that time I was actually giving a talk on B2B Instagram marketing. My background is in marketing, scaled my agency, and my now co-founder was at the talk that I was at, and he told me about this platform he was building to essentially try before you buy, with highly technical software starting in cybersecurity, and I got it immediately. So I had a lot of challenges during my time at my agency, with enterprise software sales, just in general, just like getting software, evaluating software, and cybersecurity is like a whole other level when it comes to the sales process. It is a bitch. I think everyone can agree. It's long, excruciating, and painful. I call it the existential dread of clicking on the toxic sales button is really what got me into this, because I got it. Like, I was like, yeah, if we can just have a try before we buy a platform. I don't want to put my credit card in. I don't want to have limited features. Like, I want to compare and contrast. So I got it immediately. We hit it off. I initially came on board as an advisor, then became CEO in November of 2023. So we're 2 years in at this point.
Nice. Yeah, and you'll see that a lot, right? Any platform, it really is. If you want to demo or try, right, you have to POC it. There's always like these weird freaking things that you got to do, credit card information, or you name it. There's something out there that it's like, do I really want to do that? I got to invest like a lot of time, a lot of money, or like if I don't cancel in time, then all of a sudden they're like charging me.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think you see that a lot. And it's one of the things that, like, about cybersecurity, where even then, like, pricing it's not even readily available. Like, even Microsoft, right? You look at like Azure pricing for like Sentinel or Defender or whatever, and it's like, oh, put it into our calculator.
Right.
Dude, I don't know how much data I'm going to use yet. Like, how am I like, come on. And it's like, hey, recover this table, but it doesn't tell you how much data the table that you're recovering holds. So it's like, put it in our calculator. I don't know how much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other issue too is, and we're talking about like managed service providers, like they don't charge the same price for same product, different price for different customers, right? So even if it was listed somewhere, like, it's going to be different, when you're talking about these VARs, managed service providers, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of layers of complexity that go into it. There's a lot of layers of complexity.
Well, let's be fair. A business wants to make money.
Right.
So if you're willing to go with their first offer, they're not going to tell you no. Like, they're going to come in as high as they can.
Right.
And if they say no, then okay, let me drop it a little lower. Let me come down 10%. What do you say to that? And they're like, But at the same time, you got to look at it as, if you're going through a VAR and not going direct to the manufacturer or the developer of the software, there's always going to be an upcharge.
Right.
So you have to understand that these companies still need to make money.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like going to, I don't know, let's say a Best Buy. Yes, they still exist, and buying a computer. Like they make legitimately from where they get their computers from, whether it's HP or Dell or whomever, their profit margin on that is little to none. And I know because when I worked at Best Buy, I used to pay 5% over wholesale and I'd get like $20 off. Like,
Hmm.
not a big discount there. But, you know, when you're looking at these MSSPs, MSPs, and VARs, like, yeah, they'll mark it up, but they need to make money. Or else,
Right.
how are they going to keep people employed
Right.
and continue to do
Right.
sales?
Right. No, and I don't have any issue with that. And I understand that, what the pricing model is and that, we're a capitalist society. We got to do what we got to do. I think the challenge that comes in, not just with sales, but like, what are they selling?
Hmm.
That's the question. Like, is what they're selling actually working? I think is the bigger question and topic of conversation that I would love to
Oh, for
dive
sure.
into.
For sure. Well, that's also why I will never reach out to a cybersecurity company to sponsor this show. It's never
Hmm.
happened. I've never had a sponsor, to be fair, ever. But I would never reach out to a cybersecurity company because that means I got to put my name on it. That means I got to put my brand on it. And if
Right.
you screw up,
Right.
now I've done put my name on that, and I've screwed
Hmm.
up. So
Hmm.
like, look back at CrowdStrike when they had their kerfuffle what a year ago or so. You know, that would have been my name on there. No,
Mhm.
no, not willing to play that game. Like just not something. And so because of how volatile this industry is and how much you can, be doing so much good, but then one misstep, now all of a sudden people want to leave you. People want to have this thing. The industry itself. I mean, let's be fair. There's only two types of companies out there: those that have been breached and those that don't know it yet.
That's very fair.
That's legitimately it. Like you're leaving shit wide open. So when it comes down to the sales
Mhm.
cycle and trying to sell stuff, we can only put our best foot forward. But pricing is going to be it differs by company, what you can
Mhm.
afford, who you're dealing with, and does that MSSP or MSP or VAR deal with SMBs and
Yeah,
small businesses, or do they deal with enterprise? Because if you
right.
go to one that deals with enterprise and global companies, I'm sorry, that price is probably going to be out of your
It's a
price range.
big price. Yeah, it's a big price tag. 100%.
That's like when companies go to the government. I'm going to charge you $1 million for a $500 computer.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I worked for DoD. I was in the Army. I know this. I've seen their piece of crap computers, and it's like, what's it cost? If you break it, it'll cost $3,000. The dude, I could
It's
build
still
this
running Windows
computer for
96.
$200. But I think we see that a lot, and so in sales, like with what you guys are trying to do with bypassing a lot of this stuff, how do you think that is reinvented kind of the way that you do things?
Yeah, I mean, so what we're really trying to do is bring a lot more transparency into the sales process. So essentially, we use Gen AI and automations to build product proof of concepts, and then we host those on our platform so that folks can come through and essentially do self-service POC evaluation. And so, really, what we're trying to do is create a buyer-led sales motion in cybersecurity, which I don't think has really existed unless you're in the SMB space. Obviously, like the free trial aspects are there for that segment of customers. They're not going to need, they're not going to have as onerous of checklists of compliance things that they need to take care of when they're purchasing software, right? So that's what we're trying to do is bring transparency and giving buyers more autonomy in the process. And really how we got here is that my co-founder, Craig, has 25, 30 years as a sales engineer, leading sales engineering teams. He was working for a large MSSP. I won't name names, but essentially he was building demo environments for a roadshow and testing out products against Eternal Blue, and a big name company totally missed it. And so it was like the light bulb moment for him, like which of these products actually in market do what they say they're going to do, and is this an endemic problem? And I would argue that, I wouldn't maybe say endemic, but I would say there's a lot of products out there that absolutely do not live up to live up to their promises, is what I would say.
Well, and I think a lot of that comes down to, though, and when we're looking at sales, is the marketing aspect behind it. And I've had this conversation before. When you're looking at buzzwords, so much marketing goes out. Oh, it's AI, it's ML, it's it does behavioral analytics, it does all these things.
Yeah.
Those are
And I own
marketing
that too.
buzzwords
We
that
do
they're
that. We do
using,
that too.
but they're using it to pull you in without actually knowing the concepts behind it, without knowing what it's actually doing.
Right.
And so when that happens, you end up with this situation where a platform doesn't actually do what it says.
Right.
And it's just because marketing got their hands on it, was like, oh, this will sell. Let's throw that on there.
Right.
And the technicians and engineers on the back end going, oh, homie, it doesn't do that. No, that doesn't exist. Like, what are you talking about?
Right. Well, and I think to your point, though, I mean, that's the whole argument for Hackerverse. Okay, just show us. That's it.
Mhm.
Just freaking show us, right? So we have stitched together these attack campaigns. Put your product in our sandbox environment and show us how it performs.
Yeah.
No marketing, no fluff, no bullshit. Just show us.
And I think that's the biggest thing, is like, you need to be able to show value, and that is with any platform. So I had a client that we worked for previously, and they bought a certain product, and it was like, oh, we want to do all this stuff with it. And when we looked into the product, now mind you, the VAR was sold, so the licensing was sold, and they came to us, can you install this? Can you implement it? And we're like, sure. But then when we looked into what they wanted the product to do and what the product actually did, we're like, it's possible, but it's kind of like not its intention.
Right.
Like,
Right.
can it be done? Sure. But is that its intended purpose?
Right.
Not
But did
really.
they arrive on that because that's what the vendor told them it would do?
I wasn't part of the sales cycle. I'm a practice manager of engineering. My team was responsible for deploying it. And when we were deploying it and gave them all this information, they were like, that ain't what we want. Homie,
Yeah.
you bought it.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to tell you. You bought
Yeah.
it. That's
Well,
we're doing our job.
when we were doing customer interviews last year, I mean, we did hundreds with both vendors and CISOs and other enterprise buyers on trying to get the full picture on both sides. I can't even tell you the number of times I heard the term smoke and mirrors. Like, we bought it, and then this feature we wanted it for, wasn't available for 8 years. They're 8 months down the road, or then the internal advocate who wanted the tool left, and then they never fully implemented it. It lived in the closet, or the design was just horrible, and you couldn't actually use it, or they bought this tool because they had some sort of agreement with a cyber fund that they would buy it, and.
So what do you think? What do you think with that? Like, is the biggest problem right now when you're looking at sales and the aspect of all this? Is it these CISOs and directors go to these conferences like RSA and Black Hat and DEF CON and see blinky lights, and they're like, oh, that's so cool, I want to use that. So they go talk to a VAR, they go talk to whomever, right? And they're like, hey, I want to buy this. We'll figure shit out as it goes. I may or may not have a team to implement it, but this is what I want now. Is that the biggest issue, or is it more so a lot of these VARs, a lot of these MSSPs and MSPs saying, hey, you need this, and then they tack on services and everything else, and like there's this whole, like, where do you find is it the sales, or is it, to be fair, ignorant CISOs and directors that just don't know what the hell they're doing?
I mean, I think it's a combination.
And I don't say that
factors.
derogatory.
Yeah.
I legitimately mean it,
No.
like, just lack of knowledge of what the technology actually is.
Yeah, I would say it's a combination of factors. So I was just looking at some statistics today in terms of 84% of CISOs saying that they're adopting tools more quickly than they can actually use them and integrate them into their tech stack. And it's because I think they're trying to get ahead of what's coming, right? So they see someone had a breach, like if they're in the financial services, oh shit, like there's a breach. We got to get a tool for this, right? So they're trying to cover their ass. And with CISOs and boards actually now being held accountable, I think the impetus is there for them to move quickly on some of these things. So if they're doing their internal sourcing for tools and they're not using a managed services or VARs, I think they're freaking out. They're seeing these things happening. They're going out and they're proactively purchasing this. But downside of that, also some statistics around this, the more tools, the less effective a lot of times these security teams are, because there's just like alerts all over the place. These tools are overlapping, they're interfering with each other, they're not actually working. And then on like the MSSP side, I think there's a lot of challenges evaluating tools, right? So what does success criteria look like? How do we know this is actually going to work? Like if we're building our own internal like cyber range and sandbox environments, that's a very intensive process. And that's what we try to automate, with using Gen I and automation and all of the other buzzwords. Right?
Look, hey, if you've never seen Ryan Rosado on this show, she's been digging in deep to AI. So like,
yeah.
you want to have a conversation, reach out to her. She knows more than I'll ever know. She has probably learned more and forgot more than I'll ever know in my life.
Right. So I think it's a challenge, right? And it's like and expensive too. You spin up these cyber ranges, you're hosting them, they represent a moment in time, they're static, they don't actually give you the whole full picture.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's an evaluation piece of things. Like there's no common standard for evaluation. I think it's a bad sales job where you have companies pushing out software into the market before it's ready, and trying to hit those, ARR goals the VCs are telling them they need to achieve, even though the product's not ready. It is a combination of factors. I wouldn't say it's just one thing. I think it's like there's a lot of things happening that are just making the situation what it is right now.
And I'd have to agree, because it just kind of like piles on itself, because you have these, and RSA is known for it, right? You have these small 1, 2, 3 person shops that are building a platform. VC see it and say, oh, this is great, I'm going to invest in you. So now they got to be able to, find a way to make the money work, to be able to make money, to pay VCs, to kind of do all this stuff. So they just go with it. And it's never fully fleshed out. The premise, what they're trying to do is never fully built. And it lends to these problems of now you have companies being stood up and software being stood up that doesn't work the way they say it's supposed to work, because there's missteps along the line.
Right. So, and if you think about it, it's like we have this, continuously rising dollar amount that we're losing to cyber criminals every year. And that could come from a variety of reasons, like, individuals being unprotected, small, medium businesses not knowing what they should know. But like ultimately, if we were making an impact, like that number should be not rising as dramatically as it is. It should be, plateauing. Like, so if the industry was actually doing what it set out to do and says it is here to do, then that number wouldn't be what it is. I'm trying, there's a lot of reasons for that, but ultimately if the tools did what they were supposed to do and everything worked the way it was supposed to, like that wouldn't be the case.
Well, when I put that on 2 things. Me personally, I put it on, you can't expect users to not click on things. You can't expect users not to say, oh yeah, go ahead, right? Like, I got this. But you're talking about people that, especially now, we still have people that weren't like that came up. They were probably 30 years old when the internet first came out. Like, and they're still working. So they don't have this understanding of cybersecurity and things like that. And that's not being mean. That's just facts and reality of they're working CEOs, CIOs, CISOs, because let's be fair, that executive level is who most of the time. So they're hiring their friends, they're getting their friends in there. So they're in positions where it's like, oh, yeah, I'll click that link. Oh my God, I'm going to get an Amazon gift card if I do this survey. Sure, I'll do it. Or, something stupid like that. Or even on Facebook, let's be fair, social media is a huge detriment to everything. Hey, do this survey. I will tell you what Disney princess you are. Hey, your mother, where was she born?
Yeah.
What's your maiden name? What year were you born? What, all these questions that legitimately would be asked on like your security questions for, things. Because as you get older, you don't want to do 2FA. You're not trying to like, you may not even have a smartphone to do 2FA. And you're
Yeah.
looking at your phone going, I got my Motorola Razor right here. I can't scan anything. Like you have these issues. I think that the technology needs to be able to address that.
Hmm.
We're still in this situation where clicking a phishing link and inputting your passwords or downloading something, we're not catching it. We're not
Hmm.
the AI behind EDR, behind all this stuff,
Right.
isn't doing its job because
Yeah.
it's living off the land. I'm going to use PowerShell and do whatever the hell I need to do, and you're never going to see me because guess what? It's PowerShell, and
Yeah.
I can execute all these commands because they're baked into Windows, which means you're not going to stop me.
Hmm.
And EDR looks at it, goes, "Oh no, this is legit. You're good to go, homie. You want to run a scan? Look, go ahead and connect to that computer. You're good. You're good. It's okay. The domain controller, no worries. You're fine.
Yeah.
Like EDR isn't catching it. But then there's the problem with MSSPs.
Hmm.
Have you built out the alerts to actually
Right.
put this in place?
Hmm.
But I find it a problem. And let me get your take on this because in sales, when you're dealing with the tech stack, it's one thing. But when you're dealing with MSSPs, it's a whole different can of
Right.
worms.
Right.
And so if the analysts aren't sitting down with the company to say, hey, we need to develop these alarms based on correlation rules, and
Hmm.
instead it's, hey, if I get brute forced, I want to know about it. If I get password sprayed, I want to know about it. If somebody downloads malware and it's blocked, I want to know about it. Dude, you're never gonna not know about something. Good luck
Right.
trying to find the actual problem.
Hmm. Hmm.
So is the issue on when you're dealing in the sales of this aspect, the technology, the MSSP, or the company are trying to find this fluidity between them so
Right.
they can actually collaborate and work together.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I would agree. I think it's a multi-tiered problem. I mean, there's just no one's coordinating this, and we're all just out here kind of like taking stabs in the dark. I feel like trying to like solve this problem.
Right? It's like, you know what? I'm gonna install this, it'll fix all the shit. That was like the people that like people talk shit on Cylance for years when they came out
Hmm.
because they were like, they're not doing anything. Bitch, you did not put in place any policy to stop anything.
Right.
So what's it
Right.
gonna do? It is literally a dummy system unless you actually implement policy. And you're
Right.
like, I installed Cylance, I'm good. And then you go into their back end and you look and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I can allow scripts, I can
Yeah.
allow this, I can allow this, I can allow.
Right.
So
I
it
mean,
didn't
as an
do anything.
industry, we're still really young. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah.
like, yeah. So I feel like we're still like, I don't know, what's the expression? I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like coming into our own, but there hasn't been any sort of concerted effort to like standardize this or, coordinate it, or, or everybody's out here trying to tackle this problem in their own way, right? Is it psychology? Is it tackling the human element? Is it fixing the sales process? And I'm passionate about that. Is it, having better services? Is it connecting the services with the vendors? Is it having one unified body that's going to create these like cyber guidelines? But then if we have one set of cyber guidelines, those are going to be out of date in the next 2 weeks. So it's a very difficult challenge to tackle. I by no means claim to have the answer or anything approaching it.
I honestly, in my eyes, I think a lot of it just comes down to the human element. And a lack of knowledge and understanding to where yes, technology is always going to advance.
Right.
We know this. I legitimately, my computer that I built 4 years ago now is at the point where I'm like, every so often my mouse kind of skips, and I'm like, has it been that long? Shit, it's been 4 years. Damn, this needs replaced. But
Yeah.
like, even when we look at our infrastructure, when we look at what we're doing, you figure we've gone from mainframes to data centers to
Mhm.
servers like
Right.
2U and 1U and rack servers to now we're in the cloud and
Right.
building everything off that. And then you look at your antivirus and your signatures, and now we're in
Right.
EDR and XDR, and it's
Right.
just constantly
Right.
changing and evolving.
Right.
It's not even possible to keep up. So
Yeah.
you do your best,
Right.
but for anybody to ever sit there and say, "Oh yeah, you're 100% secure and you're never going to be breached," Bitch, you're a liar. Shut the fuck up. Like, plain and simple. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
You can't.
yeah. I actually had an investor ask me today. He was like, "So what do you think about this whole, is it going to be a challenge that, these companies are rolling up and getting acquired and turning into platform?" And I was like, "No, because there's going to constantly be another generation and it's just going to accelerate in terms of new companies entering the market trying to fix this challenge, right?" So, yeah, but I mean, going back to your point about the human element, I mean, I don't disagree. I think, and I talk about this a lot. I've talked about this, in talks and some other podcasts. But I think the biggest challenge that the industry faces in a lot of ways is communication between each other, with us and the public, CISOs and the board, CEOs and CISOs. Like, how do we explain the value proposition in a way that makes sense to people? It doesn't scare the shit out of them, because talking to the average Joe about cybersecurity, like, they just glaze over. You can watch it happening. You're like, and here's how you, and it's just like, you can watch the eyes.
Hey, I need you to scan what? Ooh.
So how do we simplify this for people and explain it in a way that makes sense and doesn't terrify them, right?
I
I
don't
don't, and
think
again, I don't have the answer for that, but
I don't think, because you're always going to have those people that are tech savvy and love technology. You're going to have the middle ground of people that understand and like the importance of certain things. Then you're going to have the people that don't give a flying fuck, that will literally go on their phone, download every app known to man because it gives them their endorphin rush or dopamine rush for the day, and go about their business.
Yeah. Is it they don't care, or is they are just totally ignorant? It's both of those things.
I think it's both. It's definitely both. So to put this in perspective, I know people legitimately that have been like, you go to them, you're like, hey, you realize that this is a bad idea. This is listening, and their response is, they already know everything about me. I don't give a fuck. Who cares? Like,
oh, I hear
whatever.
That a lot.
Hear what you want. Like, or hey, this is gonna scan your phone and legitimately like pick out all your pictures and text messages. Good for them. I don't care. So like I think even in industry, even in companies, we have become so nonchalant about breaches. It is every day.
Yeah.
I swear I have gotten an email probably every day or at least every month for the past probably 10 years.
Yeah.
Hey, your data is gone. Somebody else has it. It was in a breach. At this point, look, the world has my social security number. They have
everybody's social security is out in the dark web. Like, all of us.
Like, okay, the worst you can do is improve my credit at this point. Go for it. If you can get a loan and it gets approved, I will gladly pay that bitch. Like, whatever. Like, I just don't. I think we've become so like just nonchalant about it. Just
and privacy too. I hear that a lot about privacy. Yeah, I don't have anything to hide.
What is privacy? Privacy doesn't exist, mainly because that's a large number. We'll say probably 75% of the world puts their entire life online anyway, so does it matter? Does it really matter? You've done put your address, your dog's name, your mother's name, your sister's name, your spouse's name, everything out online. And then people are like, oh, but the privacy, bitch. I could literally download a dossier of you right now. You put that shit public. Like, and I'm just gonna make it publicer, as somebody used to say. I can't stand a guy anymore, but let's just be fair. Like, that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And when people are like,
I mean, but it was, like, we were, and I don't want to make any assumptions about how old you are. I think we're probably a similar age. Like, I joined Facebook when I was like a freshman in college, and it was still just college students. Right?
So we had Facebook, MySpace, and actually the college I went to, the one guy before Facebook or MySpace became big, he stood up PT Marion.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
But it was fantastic. I went to Pitt, so it kind of fit for what we were doing. Met the creator. Dude was awesome. Turned out to be a doctor. But then MySpace went out the window. Facebook took over. Look.
But we were like the first ones that had to think about these things, right? Like, there was no conversations about privacy or online, like, because there wasn't anywhere to like put all that stuff. I mean, there was an internet.
Come on, we grew up with Netscape, Navigator, and AOL.
That's
Actually,
true.
before
That's
they
true.
termed it AOL, it was America Online. And
Right.
actually,
But
before
everything I
Netscape
put in
Navigator and
AOL
America
was a
Online,
lie.
maybe it was the same time, it was Prodigy. Prodigy
Yeah.
was there as well. Prodigy was my shit because I got to play games on there. America
Okay.
Online didn't have the same features as Prodigy. I liked my games. All right.
Okay.
Let's be fair. Though
Okay.
that modem sound still gives me nightmares.
Well, I was just gonna say, even if the stuff like all the stuff that I put into America Online was a lie. I was like 12, and I'm like, I'm 17, and I live in
Oh,
Australia.
yes. The chat rooms. The chat rooms on America Online. How
I'm
old are you?
21.
ASL 21 male location.
Six four.
Alaska, North Pole, Earth.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as a parent, like looking back on the number of strangers that we chatted with on the internet.
Oh, it was so bad. So bad. We were so
uh,
bad. Like the things I would do, and it wasn't like anything like perverted. It was just that the people you would talk to, you would get in these chat rooms and you'd be like, yeah, I'm 32. The fuck? Mitch, you 10. Nowadays, we're all like, hey, kids, don't sign up for this, or this. I need all your passwords. You're
hmm
not getting on Snapchat. You're not getting
Yeah.
on anything unless
Yeah.
I know about it.
Right. Yeah.
I follow my kids on everything. Why?
Yeah.
Because I want to know everything they put up.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Snapchat scares me. I'm not a big fan of that one. I mean, they're
So
all bad, but
Snapchat has changed
okay.
in that if you were so willing, and I am, I'm that dad. I'm that guy. Like legitimately, I will stand up randomly a server that can monitor all my Wi-Fi traffic throughout the entire home. And pictures, anything, any messages you send, I get to see it all. Which is why my kids don't do dumb shit because they know I can do it and will do it and have done it. But like, even when I'm not, give me your phone.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'm dad. Give me your phone.
Because I'm dad. Yeah.
And I will legitimately
Absolutely.
go through Snapchat.
Yeah.
And you can go into messages now and they keep them for a certain time frame. So you can go through in school and be like, why are you being a dumbass? Homie, why are you being an idiot? Like,
Because they're teenagers. They don't know any other
my
way.
oldest really, I don't even go through my oldest phone anymore. He's too old now. He gonna be 17. Nope. I ain't playing that game. Like, dude, you ain't doing dumb shit, are you? No? All
They're
right,
always
cool.
doing dumb shit. What are you talking about?
As long as the cops don't come to my door, I don't care.
Oh gosh. I mean, I was a dumbass when I was that old. I'm honest.
Uh,
Sometimes I think about like how lucky I am to be alive.
Look, I'm lucky for different. I played sports growing up. I didn't do dumb shit because I was always into
Okay.
football, baseball, something. And so for me, I was like, I need my knees to walk, so I'm not going to do this. I need to be able to breathe so I can actually play football. So I'm not going to do that. Nowadays, I'm like, since I've been 18, I smoke cigarettes, I drink beer, I do all this shit. Well, I get my life's done anyways. Let's go.
Oh man. Yeah. I randomly, so we're getting derailed. We're going off the rails. I'm
Fuck
voluntarily
it, let's
leading
rant. It's fun
I'm leading
times,
the
and
chart.
and honestly, this is. But here's the thing: before we continue down this realm, I want people to
Yeah.
understand. Look, there is life outside of cybersecurity. There
Mhm.
is real life, and too many people envelope themselves in this. Oh, I always got to be hacking, or I always got to be doing this, or
Yeah.
always. Nah, bitch.
It's
I
a
got a wife and 5
lifestyle.
kids. I ain't got that time of day. I got a real life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
outside of my job, you get me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I agree with that. And one of the things I talk about it all the time. Everyone's like, fitness, fitness, fitness. But I actually, now that I'm like almost 40, buckling down, I actually teach spin classes and teach weight classes. So that is my outdoor
Teach me
exercise.
because I'm so fucked up right now.
Absolutely, we can do some. Anyone interested? We'll do some
Misha,
virtual.
Misha, hey, you're in Ohio. Drive the 4 hours to go see Mariana. We'll all get in
That's
shape
funny.
together. Let's do it.
There you go. Deadlift Tuesdays or something. Yeah, so there we go. But no, I completely agree. And if you, I think they're putting on an event at RSA. If you're going to be at RSA, Mind Over Cyber, please check out that organization. All about mental health awareness, all of that kind of stuff, led by George Kamid of Bare Knuckles Brass Tacks. So please check that out if you
That
are
one's
interested.
awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Mind Over Cyber, that's the whole thing. They had a great event last year at RSA where they did some meditations. It was great for me because I was having like a breakdown rolling into RSA. It was like shit was falling apart. I didn't know what I
Isn't
was doing
everything
with my
always
life.
falling apart in our industry, though?
Well, this one was a little worse than usual. It was a little bit more of a breakdown. The engine was running on fumes.
Yeah, I get that. Well, let's be fair. Between our social battery and our actual cyber battery, them bitches burn out quick these days.
Yeah.
We're just like, you know what? I'm done. I quit. Why am I still here?
Because we put it on ourselves to like save the world. Like there's, we're just like, oh, we'll keep pushing that fucking boulder up the hill until we die. I don't know. I think there's something about us.
Oh, it definitely is. And so like I still do it and I still love it. At the same time, I sit there and I go, you know what? I need to get outside.
Yeah,
Like I absolutely did something just my camera just moved for some reason. That's weird.
it did.
Um,
I
all
saw
right,
it.
cool. Just making sure I wasn't going crazy. Um, but like I have to get outside. Like people are like, I can't be
Yeah,
outside, or I don't want to go see. Look, I don't go see people. I literally just walk out my garage and go into the sunlight, and I'm like, I need to
yeah.
be out here.
Go touch some
I need
grass.
to just get away from technology
Yeah.
and just be outside. And and I think when we're looking at, excuse me, the industry and networking and getting to know people. Like I get it, people are introverts.
Hmm.
Misha, who's watching right now, I love her to death. I finally met her at last B sides Pittsburgh. Um, Absolutely amazing, great person to meet, great to know, and but you only meet these people when you I don't know leave your house
Right.
and actually go do
Right.
something outside of a computer screen.
Right.
But too many people are like, oh, all I'm gonna do is this.
Right. Right.
My guy.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Uh, because then you become ones and zeros and no one gives a damn about you.
Right. Yeah, I know. I completely agree. Not only is it bad for your mental health, but it's bad for your career path, is what I would say. Like,
Mhm.
as technical of an industry as we are and as advanced as we are, the human element is huge. And you have to have that trust and build that trust with people in the space in order to move ahead as a professional, to sell anything, to advance in any way, shape, or form. I actually have given a talk on this, dominating the cybersecurity networking game. If anybody wants a link, I'm happy to share it with you. I did it. I've done it several
Hold
times.
up, me and you need to do a talk together because we can definitely look. You need to go look up my B sides talk on mental health and resilience and shit and burnout. Like me
Yeah.
and you can do a talk together. Let's figure that shit out. We'll go do it.
Okay. All right. We can get into Reject Con because they keep rejecting my RSAC. I will never be a speaker at RSAC unless I have like $100,000 booth. So we can put something together for Reject Con.
But that's the other thing, right? When you look at these bigger conferences, again, all my talks that I've done, I've only ever done one at an actual cybersecurity conference, but it was on mental health, burnout, and resilience.
Yeah.
And I thought it went great. It's actually on my channel. But too many people are like, oh, you need to be technical. You need to be technical. You need to be technical. The fuck? You
Yeah.
realize that most people who make it in cybersecurity now are GRC. They don't have,
Yeah.
or even myself, I hate programming. I
Mm-hmm.
can't program for the life of me. I can
Mm-hmm.
read code, I can fix code, but if you want me to develop a script, get the fuck out of here. It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And so, like, they're like, you always gonna know. No, like,
Yeah.
and they forget about the mental health aspect of like, quit burning the candle at both ends
Yeah.
because it is literally going to kick more people out of cyber than bring
Yeah.
people in.
Right. Well, I agree on that. And I'd also say, hello, everyone chiming in the comments. Hello. That you don't need to have a technical background. I mean, I kind of, like I said, bumbled my way into cybersecurity and am now a CEO, a very non-traditional career path. But I would say it's honestly been an asset for what I do.
Mhm.
because I can come in having a marketing background, and like I think storytelling is something that has been a common thread in everything that I've done. So I can come in and say, look at everything the industry is doing from a marketing and messaging perspective and be like, whoa, no,
Hey, nay, nay. You need to stop this shit right now.
no, and just and question all of that and like really rethink the conversations that we're having. And so if I would say there's a secondary mission to what we're doing at Hackerverse, yes, it's helping people evaluate tools better, it's giving them more autonomy in the process, but I think it's also changing the conversations that we have.
Yeah.
Because all I want, just show me, like show the people that your
Yeah.
product works, like just show everyone, right? Like demonstrate the efficacy. So anyway, that's my side mission is improving the way the industry communicates. And yeah, I'm rambling, but yes.
But no, I agree, because even from the technical aspect, look, you can put out any white paper you want. If you
Right.
can't show me how it works, but again, this is also my problem with a lot of salespeople, right? So a lot of companies will hire sales engineers and all these other people, and some of the
Right.
conferences like, oh yeah, this is how it works. But they don't really know how it works. They
Right.
know how to talk, but when you ask them in-depth questions about things, they don't understand. They're like, well, I'd have to ask my sales engineer. Well, you're
Mm-hmm.
in sales. You should know how this functions, which has been a problem maybe with certain sales personnel, because they'll be like, oh yeah, I can tell you what it says on a white paper, but I can't
Right.
actually get in depth with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an engineer. I've been an
Yeah.
engineer for years. I've been technical for years. If I'm asking you about something, you should be able to relay it to me. I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
CISO. Even if I
Right.
was a CISO, which one day, maybe, hopefully, who knows, um, I'd still ask you technical fucking
Right.
questions. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not here to talk the sales pitch. I'm here to
Right.
figure out how your
Right.
product works
Right.
and if it does what you say it can do. And if you're going to tell me, oh, I can't speak to that, then you got the wrong people at these booths.
Right.
Plain and
Right.
simple. Because
Yeah.
no engineer is going to, no engineer, no CISO that is worth its salt in technical aspect is going to look at your product if you can't speak to it
Right.
and show it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. 100%. Uh, can you spell CISO, Cyber Warrior Studios, from William Bailey?
Dude, William's my dog. I love him. SIESO. Look it up. That's how you spell CISO here in Pittsburgh. Great company to work for, by the way. Just saying that. I don't
I
work
just
for them
thought
no
that was
more, but
funny.
I did, and they're fantastic. Love them to death. But it's here in Pittsburgh. But no, I do. I think the sales process is broken just because a lot of times they get non-technical people to do sales. I,
Mm-hmm.
I, I really think, and I get what Hackerverse does. I understand, and I respect the hell out of it. I think though, when you're going to conferences and trying to pitch a product, you should know inside and out that fucking product.
Mm-hmm.
You really should.
Mm-hmm.
If not, then why are you there?
Right. Right.
I think that's where my problem lies, is sending people that can only talk to the white paper or to the marketing spiel. You're sending the wrong people then.
Right.
Why am I here if you
Right.
can't
They need to be able to
tell me
speak to it, but do it effectively. I remember like walking around Black Hat and, mistake number one, made eye contact with someone on the expo floor. Never make eye contact if you don't want to be
no.
like drawn into a conversation. And this guy like proceeded to just like, I felt like verbatim tell me the white paper. And I was just like, eyes glazed over, just like, I don't even, how do I extricate myself from this conversation, right? So know what you're talking about and do it effectively, and know
Yep.
you're like, read the room is the other one. So who are those people that are really effective at doing that? That's a hard skill set. Have the technical piece of things and the communication skills and all of that. I don't know.
Oh, for sure. I think that's the worst part about it though, is companies look, let's be fair. Growing up, I could sell ice to an Eskimo. I legitimately could. But one, I don't like that line of work.
Yeah.
Not to say I wouldn't do it again. It's just not enjoyable to me because I feel like I'm selling FUD. I feel like I'm selling
Yeah.
bullshit to people, and I'm just like, I got to make money, so this is what I'm going to do. But if I don't believe in it, then I can't sell it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
And so for me, like, yes, I could do that at the time. I was 16 years old, 17 years old, and people used to think I was in college or had graduated college at 16. How do you know this much about computers? My life. Like,
You're
that's
curious. You learn.
I grew up, I research, I learn, I know what it can do, but I didn't get paid on commission. That's why I would literally tell people, you don't want this.
Yeah.
They're like, I want a gaming computer for what? Well, I need to be able to write documents and do this. Bitch, you ain't spending $3,000 on this. Let's take you down to like $500. Like,
A
you definitely
Chromebook.
don't need this. Like, I wasn't paid on commission. I didn't care. And they're like, how do you know this? I'm,
Yeah.
16 years old. This is what I've been. Wait, you're 16? Yeah, I'm 16. But then you'd have those others people come in that were like, hey, I want to be able to get my son needs a gaming computer and I only want to spend $500. And I'm like, then you don't want your son to game.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what do you mean? And I'd explain it, and $3,000 later, they're walking out the store with everything. I'm
Right.
like,
Right. Yeah.
but I never had a return. So just saying.
There
Could
we
I do
go.
sales? Yes. Do I despise it? Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I love sales and I hate sales at the same time, because if you can talk to people, you can get them to believe anything. And I think some of these companies just want you to buy into their bullshit. And that's
Yeah.
all it is.
Yeah.
And so that's why I respect what you guys are doing, because you're showing them what's capable without selling something initially. It's just, hey, try it out, look what it can do, and let us know.
Right.
And I think that means more than just, hey, yeah, I can do all the things. And then you buy it and you install it and you're like, but it's missing X, Y, and Z. Oh yeah, that's on the roadmap for down the line. That's down the line.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard that a lot too. in the interviews that we did. So yeah.
Oh, that is the worst. Like, oh yeah, it's on the roadmap. It's in your I literally read a flyer that said you could do this. Yeah, but that's like 6 months from now. We're still working on it. There's kinks. There's kind of kinks in the pipeline.
That's because marketing and sales didn't talk to product. Our
I
marketing and
swear,
sales
like,
purposely
marketing
didn't talk
people
to
don't talk
product.
to their engineers at all. They're just like, it's on the roadmap. We're putting it in. You can do this now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So with that though, we talk a lot about sales, and I do. I love salespeople that know their shit, that actually know what they're talking about. But in sales, you have to communicate. You have to build community. You actually have to have a network of people.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
LinkedIn is a cesspool of salespeople that'll literally be like, I'm not trying to sell you. And then the next message be like, hey, so look at all my shit.
Right.
What have you found in growing your network? Because you're really big on LinkedIn from what I've seen. People actually pay attention to you. What have you actually found in LinkedIn or any social media or with throughout your career so far, the importance of networking beyond just the sales aspect and getting to know people?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes back to what I mentioned earlier in terms of like we're a highly technical industry, but it still runs on human connection and trust, right? If people don't trust you, then they don't trust their product, they're not going to buy it. Like if someone you're applying for a role, a CISO role, and they don't have that established network and you're not connected with them, you're not going to get that job. If you haven't done the work to build your professional network, you're not going to get hired. So I would say two things I always talk about, and yes, we should put together some RFP or CFP, whatever, call for papers, request for proposal, whatever on this stuff. Would love to do a panel discussion with you. One is I always have a give first mentality, and this is like super Midwestern, but like I'm always like, okay, what can I do to help you? I do a lot of virtual coffees. On all of those virtual coffees, I promise not to sell them, and I don't. It's never a sales conversation. If it turns into like, hey, this is really interesting, I think we should continue this conversation. I'm like, okay, cool. Then let's set up a separate sales conversation. We will talk about how we can work together, all that kind of stuff. And some of the best sales I've had have just like started with me shooting the shit with someone about like something. It doesn't like whatever. Like I have like no shame. So I'll reach out to someone and be like, I like your dog. Or you have really cool glasses. Like my friend Andy, who works at Before AI, we've known each other for like 2 years now. I reached out on LinkedIn because I was like, you have really cool glasses. I feel like we could be friends. It's like something.
Look, I got glasses too, but I wouldn't say they're really cool. I was like, I'm going to be close to my computer screen, so I'm putting them on right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's so much, it's thinking about networking as like tending a garden, right? Like you're not planting your seeds and expecting like carrots to pop out the next day, right? You have to nurture that garden. You got to water it. You got to take care of it, all that kind of stuff. You have to take care of those relationships until the point when you're ready to say, okay, I need help from you. Here's how you can help. Will you do that? Right. And so you're giving first, you're staying top of mind, you're nurturing those relationships, all that kind of stuff. And that's why I have an engaged audience on LinkedIn, because like I have stayed in contact with those people and I have not tried to like just, sell them. Like I genuinely want to know them as human beings. And so I think it's as simple as that, really.
That's really the biggest thing. I think people forget about that aspect of, I've put a lot of my life out there, but yet the first thing anybody says, like they'll connect like, oh, this isn't going to be sales, da da da. But the very next message is, hey, so I've like written this book, or I've got this platform coming out. Can you test it for me? Can you? No, you want me to sell you some shit? No.
Yeah.
Like have a conversation,
right?
Have an actual discussion with people. But this goes back to job seekers also.
Yeah.
Do not connect with someone immediately. Like, here's my resume. I applied. Can you look at it and see the fuck?
Yeah.
No.
I tell students that all the time. Like the gardening analogy. I'm like, look, you got to start before you need help. You never know when you're going to need or going to be going after promotion, when, there's going to be a layoff, all that kind of stuff. And you can't just start with, oh my God, I need a job. Like the story I tell about this, my first year at RSA, I was at the, Horizon 3 party, like pre-party before RSA kicks off. I have a very vivid memory of this because they had pink lighting and all the food looked like this disgusting salmon color. This is my memory of the Horizon 3 party. I was like, what? The lighting is making everything super unappetizing. And then this guy was just like, I need a job. And I was like, why are you talking? I'm a founder of a tiny little pre-funded cybersecurity company. And he would like not leave me alone. And like the desperation was just like coming off this guy, like rolling off of him. So people know when you're desperate. Also,
they do.
It's just
but that's a big energy thing. Like people can sense when things are going on and things are awry, and people are like,
yeah,
oh, that ain't real. No, it's real. I can literally walk up to somebody in the midst of a conversation, just be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like out of frame. I'm gone. See you later.
Yeah.
We're not going to have this discussion.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because William Bailey, he said that reminds me of someone years ago that wanted me to look at their portal, and at the end of the hour-long call, they asked me if I'd buy it. So I'll put it here on the screen. But the fact is, they do that to me. Like, I'm a manager. I don't have say in what we buy. I don't have say in who we partner with. I mean, all right, maybe a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's still just a suggestion. Hey, we should look at this. You're talking to the wrong person. And the last company I was with, I most definitely didn't have a say in any of our partners, because we didn't partner with, at the time I was there, anybody.
Yeah.
We worked with just about anything. So there was no, hey, you should look at this. I'd look at it and be like, hey, can we evaluate it? And maybe it'll work.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not the authority on it. I can't tell you whether or not we're going to buy it or partner or whatever. Like,
yeah.
I'm here The person you need to talk to is probably like 4 levels above me.
Right.
Sorry.
And what's funny about that tactic too is A, it doesn't work, but B, I think one of the biggest things I've learned about sales is sometimes the best thing you can do is just shut up and you don't even say a word. You just listen. You hear all their complaints, all of their pain points, and then at the end of it's like, okay, maybe we could help with that, or otherwise, like not a good fit, or like I can suggest something else to help you. But like, you're never going to want to push something on someone. And half the time, I think, just shut up and listen.
You said the best thing there. Listen.
We're
born with 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Yeah.
Listen more than you speak. But don't just listen. So what I have found is a lot of companies, a lot of salespeople tend to listen, but they don't actively listen.
No.
They already know what the response is. They already know what they're going to come back with. Whether or not it's right.
Right.
It's kind of like if I were to sit here on this podcast and sit here on my phone and be like, oh, yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like VCs, venture capital.
Oh, VCs and investors, they're notorious for that. If you don't catch them within the first 5 seconds, they ignore the shit out of you the rest of the time.
Not to mention they're always consistently 5 to 7 minutes late to every call. Always.
Oh, yeah. So like it comes down to, and his videos I'll put out about like active listening.
Yeah.
You have to actually be listening and understand. Yeah. And Griffin said it, listen to understand, not to respond. Too many times people listen to respond.
Yeah.
They just want to get their thoughts out quick and be like, oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. When they don't know shit.
Right.
Listen to understand. What is the problem? What are you dealing with?
Right.
And 2 of the members of my team right now who are more senior have actually had these conversations with me and are like, all right, so what's the issue? What is the actual problem that we're dealing with so that we can solve it and fix it? When you work in an MSSP, your whole mission should be to solve problems.
Yeah.
Not respond to questions.
Yeah.
If I'm not paying attention to you, I can't solve your problem.
Right.
I can only give you white paper answers or, hey, so-and-so, it's in da-da-da-da-da. No.
Right.
Listen and actually listen.
Right.
Don't just listen to respond. And I think salespeople miss that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree.
But saying that, Mariana, I'm probably butchering your name. We're damn near the top of the hour, so I'm going to give you the floor for, it's 7:56. You got about 4 minutes. I want you to give your advice. Anybody trying to get into sales, cybersecurity, anything, because you kind of fell into this.
Yeah.
So you have more information than anybody else. I'm going to make you the solo partition on the screen. I want you to help anybody trying to break into the industry in sales or anything else. What advice you got for them?
Yeah. Okay, so I would say first you got to get out from behind your computer screen. I know we're a lot of introverts, and sometimes that's not comfortable, but I'm sorry, that's the way the industry works. My first conference was actually cybersecurity conference was actually RSA, which is a wild way to get started in the conference scene. That's not going to be comfortable for everyone. So I would say start small, start going to some of these smaller local conferences, get involved in your local ISSA, ISACA chapters, become someone that's known in the community. That's a great way to start. And then once the more comfortable you get, it's like riding a bike, the more you network, the better you get at it. The Art of Conversation, which actually is a really good book. Maybe it's called The Art of Listening or Reading the Room, how to read a room. It's something like that. I can share the link after this, but there's several podcasts and books that I have listed, highly recommend for some resources. There's also a podcast called How to Not Suck at Networking If You Hate Networking, or anyway, I'll share all these resources. So those are just some things to consider on that end. Get involved, be top of mind. We live in an attention deficit society where, we were just talking about this before we went live about short form video and, attention deficit. Am I running over time?
Yeah, we were.
So be top of mind. Follow up with people after you meet with them. Send them a follow up. Have a spreadsheet of like people that you're connected with, and send them reminders every 3 months or something like that, and just ask how they're doing. And then the last one, I would say, personal branding matters, and having a strong LinkedIn presence or YouTube or some sort of portfolio where people can know you and understand your skill sets. Yes, I think that's it.
You're good. No. Look, don't be like me. Alcohol and beer is probably not the way to make a presence, but it's what I do. So, but no, to your point, networking is huge, and building a brand, and it's always been huge. Meryl Vernon and I have had this conversation.
Yeah.
She's amazing in the offensive
Yeah.
security space and the thing that she's been doing. Natalie Baker, Will Klavoski, who was just
Yeah.
on a couple weeks ago. Like all these people, there are people out there that can help you and understand
Yeah.
the importance behind building a brand. And you yourself, I've seen quite like legitimately you come across as, because LinkedIn now is stupid and does top post and then you have to change it to recent post. I despise that, but okay. And so you come across quite a lot in the feeds.
It's because I have
Like,
ADD and just post everything that's on my brain and no filter.
right? You're doing something right.
I mean, the trend actually right now, so this is really fun. So be yourself. I would also say be authentic. Like, don't try to be someone you're not. Unhinged on LinkedIn is very trendy right now. I admitted to waking and baking all the time on LinkedIn the other day. So there you go. People fucking loved it.
But here's the, but you're right in that aspect. Too many people try to do what's normal.
Yeah.
And fit in, and they're afraid to be themselves. Here's the thing, and I'm gonna get close to the camera on this one. Be ready. There's no such thing as normal. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. No.
Everybody's unique.
Yeah.
So if you're not yourself, people can tell. If you're trying to fit in the crowd or fit in with what's cool, people can tell. It's gonna come out.
Yeah.
People are gonna know. Be authentic. Be yourself. Break into the industry because you know you belong. Quit waiting for somebody else to come out there and be like, "Oh, they did it, so I can do it." No, because your path to that to this industry is not going to be somebody else's path.
Yeah.
I've been fixing computers since I was like 8, 9 years old. Doesn't mean everybody else has. You know how many people came into this? Alyssa Miller came in from being a barista.
Mm-hmm.
You yourself came in from some other industry. These things happen.
Yeah.
No two paths are ever going to be the same. And
Right.
until you realize that and understand that, you're always going to be looking for somebody else to do what you can do yourself.
Yep. Agreed. 100%.
So
Perfect.
Keep networking, keep building. But saying that, I love you all. You're all my warriors. You're all my family. And I know you're all going to be back for another amazing episode next week on Security Happy Hour. Until then, take care and I'll see you next time.